right, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Exchange podcast, where we tell you all that is about SU track and field. Joined again today by Coach Weir. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing well. How you doing?
Good, man. This will probably be a quick one.
Yep.
But we do want to recap this past weekend's meet and do a little preview for champs.
Yep.
So this past weekend, we took a really small group of around, I don't know, was it 7, 8, 9?
I think it was about 9, if we're including the women.
Yeah, 9 athletes up to Bucknell for their tune-up. We like to go up there the week before champs, run some 200s. But we, did a little different this year. We did race some guys in the 5. Overall, it was a good trip. Short trip, but it was a good trip. So, 500 meters, not an event we run a lot.
No.
We saw it on their schedule. Looking at champs, weren't really sure what we were going to do with Mason or Aiden or even Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're like, you know what? Let's see if they can go get the school record. The previous school record in the 500 meter was held by Eric Johnson, and it was set at the Bucknell Invite in January of 2008.
Yep.
So we're looking at a 18-year school record.
Yeah.
So we're like, hey guys, it's 108.28. We think all 3 of you could probably get it, so let's rip it. And, they were excited to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So there's 2 heats. Aiden was in the first heat, and he did well. Broke the school record, ran a 108.06.
Yep.
And he held the school record for probably about 2 minutes.
Yep.
Because in the very next heat, both Mason and Aaron both set the school records. Aaron ran a very respectable 107.99, and Mason ran the 106.24. So congrats to all 3 of them.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
What did they have to say, after the race?
I mean, I had gone up to Aiden first and congratulated him on having the record for a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it was. But he was pretty happy with it. He was struggling a little bit with the transition from soccer and then, getting sick during the year. So that was really good to see him getting back into shape and giving him a little confidence going into conference. And then, Aiden and Aaron, they ran phenomenal. They were both pretty pleased with their performance. I think it honestly surprised them a little bit with some of the times. I don't think they're expecting to go quite that fast. So, that's definitely a big confidence booster for all 3 of them going into conference this weekend.
Yeah, I know Mason was a little nervous. He had none of them had run a 500 before. It was a little bit of a rematch of that 800, back in a few weeks ago with Aaron and Mason. I'd like to see him race a 6. I think that's probably the next event we got to get on the list.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier this week.
Yeah, and maybe Aaron says we got to do a 1K. Who knows? But also 200s. We ran a few people up there in the 200s, quite a few, I think 3 or 4 PRs out of the group. I know Henry, Calder, and Owen all ran their way onto the top 10 list.
Yep.
All time at Susquehanna, which is great. Owen's time at 22.71 was a lifetime best for him, as was Calder's 22.58 and Henry's 22.49. I know Dom, he didn't get a PR. I think he did improve his time for the landmark list. I'm trying to pull up the stuff right now as I talk to you. And then who else did we take up there? We had Nate.
Yep.
He ran a season best. I don't know if it's a lifetime best for him, but Mason did not run it. So I guess that's everybody that went up there and ran. Because Jordan's coming back from an injury. Austin's coming back from an injury.
Yep.
And then on the women's side, Ashley Newman. She was our lone female competitor of the weekend.
Yep.
She ran a 200. She ran a lifetime best. I think it was 26.95.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, just off of, the top 10 list. I think 10th is like 26.80 something.
Yeah.
So great job for her. I think, they really set themselves up well for as far as like moving up on the list, for conference championships and whatnot. And that will segue in our next part. It's Champs Week, baby.
Yes, sir.
It's one of my least favorite times of year. We get to do it 3 times a year now with cross, indoor, and outdoor. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot more chess involved with track and field than you might realize, as far as, who to put in what relays and who to run fresh open. This would be our 5th conference championship indoor in a row.
Yep.
And it's going to be tight. Moravian has a great squad this year. They've always been very dominant in the distance within our conference. This year they've added in, a few sprinters, a couple jumpers here and there, some vaulters. So they're a little bit more well-rounded than they have been the last few years. I think the conference has maybe dropped a little bit in the distance overall. So, Moravian's very strong there. So it's looking like it should be a really good competition, between the two of us. So we're just kind of going through and trying to figure out who to put where.
A lot of conversations about different things.
Yeah, and I don't want to, show our cards too much, but some things that I was looking at, before you came in here is some, goals that we could have, outside of winning the championship. And some of those are like conference records. So I know Calder and Carter as well have been running really well in the 60 hurdles.
Yeah.
The conference championship in the 60 hurdles is 8-1-0. Calder ran 8-1-3 the first meet. He's kind of working his way back in. Carter 8-2-3.
8-2-3, yep.
So about a 10th, 1300ths off. That's the overall conference record. The meet record is 8-1-6, and that was set by Joey Mosser 3 years ago.
Yep.
So both of those could get set this weekend, which should be really cool.
Yeah.
4x2 also could be one. Catholic set this last year. They ran a 1:29:50, which is a very good time for a flat track.
That's moving.
We ran, I think, 1:30 and change earlier this year on a flat track as well. I know come regional times, we're planning to really run the AA squad, which would be at the New York City Armory, which is one of the fastest tracks in the world. So we're hopefully going to be in like the 128, 127 range at that point. But for champs, this could be an opportunity for maybe our relay team to maybe go out and set the champs record. The champs record is 129:50. The overall record is held by, a group of guys that you might know. Elliot Davis, Mason Winslow, Austin Harrell, and Dom Santos.
Yep.
They went 129:41, looks like last year. So maybe they could break that as well, because that was on a flat. That was at Nazareth.
Naz, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so, we'll see. That could be an exciting time. Other than that, it's not looking like we've got many people in conference record positions this year. Possibly Cole in the shot put. The conference record is, the meet record's 15:54, and the conference record is 15:81. So I think both of those are, within striking distance of him. I know a lot of teams have people in contention to break some of these as far as like the women's go. But on the men's side, we're trying to get that fifth one in a row. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I know outdoor, I haven't talked about it much publicly, but if we could win outdoor, that would be the most consecutive conference championships for a men's track and field team, which dates back to the mid-'80s, which would be really cool for me to be up on that level of where Jim Taylor, was and is. But on the women's side, different look. The last few years we've lost a lot of talented women.
Yeah, we have.
So the goals have shifted slightly from the team aspect to a little bit more individual. So we're looking hopefully to get some conference champions and first team all conference members, and I think some of the bright spots. Kendall has had such a good year.
Yeah, she really has.
It would be nice for her to be able to cap off her rookie debut with that conference championship. And then as you look throughout the rest of the field, it'd be nice to see some, maybe some of the throwers sneak into finals or bump into that top three. I know we've got like Alyssa, she's close in the hurdles. Maybe some Charlotte in the high jump. So there's definitely some bright spots throughout. I'll be really happy with them with top 5 finish as a group.
That'd be great
really,
for them.
What I want to focus on with both groups is just being a team. Showing up, supporting one another. Win or lose, be there for each other and be a family. That's one thing we really preach throughout, our recruitment process. And one thing I try to check in with alumni as much as I can, just to see how they're doing. But what's one of your favorite? Do you have any traditions that you do for champs or anything like that?
Try not to panic. For me, it's just a lot of, looking at stats and seeing how workouts are going and trying to make sure that we're putting our people in the best positions to have success. from a team standpoint and an individual standpoint. So it's just a lot of looking at stats, and you always have, as a coach, you always have those moments where you're kind of questioning yourself. Did I make the right decision? What's going to happen? How are they going to perform? How are they going to respond? All that kind of stuff. And I think that, that goes back to what you're talking about that, family aspect, that if the team brings that energy, then, a lot of the concerns and, how are they going to handle multiple events and things, that kind of goes away because they've got the support of their team there, and that goes a long way from a physical standpoint as well as a mental standpoint.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think hosting champs is a little bit of a different beast. Last year we got the year off and traveled down to Catholic in the PG Center. Set up Friday, a lot of work for us, and then, running the meet, making sure everything goes well. I know most of the stuff falls on me, but I do appreciate all the work that you and the other coaches do. One of my favorite, or I guess traditions that we do around champs is that visualization stuff that we do on Friday, the night before. And this is something we do with the athletes pretty much every week, but we do more of a team group one where we really go through, the night before, the morning and stuff. And I think a lot of athletes appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I know that we're going to be ready to go. We finally cut out some of the lifting and really, they're going to start feeling good this week. And that's the goal. And, hopefully it's an exciting day. Hopefully, we come away with a win and the women, top 5. But ultimately, I think it's been a very good year. It's been an up and down year, to say the least.
Yeah.
We're not even done. Hopefully we get, a couple into nationals down at Birmingham. I mentioned the regional championships next week. During spring break, so we'll be here while everyone's out at the beach.
Yeah.
But I guess just looking forward to the weekend and hopeful people stay healthy and we just perform as good as we can.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me today. I know this was a quick one for us, but this has been the JT Exchange podcast here. Please like and subscribe and share, and thank you. Have a great day.